Scientists in the Switzerland town of Basel allowed a many decades-old secret about the sameness of a mummified female. Their studies show a surprise party. The female is the large grandma of UK Overseas Registrar Boris Johnson. The flesh was unsecured in 1975. Time renovations were creature made on Basel's Pucuzzer Chapel. She was buried in front line of the sacrificial altar, obviously so fed, and tiring nice quality assurance clothing. That was apparently the flesh of a rich dame of Basel. But who was she precisely, and why did she dead? Down there was no tombstone to specify her sameness, but original test of her wood tomb offered it dated back of the 16th age. Else key, her flesh was penetrated in quicksilver, a norm treat for syphilis of the deceased 15th to the 19th age. Very toxicity quicksilver treat was more than frequently a murder rather than a treatment, and it was the how canned her flesh. But how yet leftward outdoor the issue of who she was. Basel in the 16th and 17th centuries was a rich trade town. Its seaport on the inland Rhine was a key hub for driving consumer goods through Europe, and its remnants so present. Regional historians knew how members of Basel's rich families were buried in and about the Pucuzzer Chapel. Several were obviously mentioned in accounting records, several had obviously noted gravestones. But not the mumia. It just became precise in 2017, in again found archive, how the mumia had been unsecured one day up, in 1843. Such accounting records led historians to suspicion the mumia was a term of a so-established Basel household, the Bischofs. With the largest up-to-date methods, scientists were capable to remove DNA content of the mumia's big toe. The was compared, by scientists' work alone of one else, in DNA take of residing descendants of the Bischoff household. The results were precise, show a 99.8% likelihood how the descendants and the mumia were all of the identical parent link. Now the scientists and the historians were certainly, the mumia was no some rather than Anna Katharina Bischoff. Unborn in Basel in 1719, she dead down there in 1787. One day her sameness had been set. Genealogists were capable, in the assist of the effective accounting records of born, marriages and deaths that tend to be stored by the wealthier classes, to track more than of Anna Katharina's descendants. She had 7 family. Just 2 kept infancy, but 1 child, as well Anna, marital a specific believer Hubert magnate Pfeffel von Kriegelstein. 5 generations of von Pfeffels after, and we discover Maria Louise von Pfeffel marriage 1 Stanley Fred Williams. Their child Yvonne marital Osman Wilfred Johnson Kemal, and their child, Stanley Johnson, is UK Overseas Registrar Boris Johnson's dad. I believe she's quite pleasant, he told of his forefather. But which of Anna Katharina herself? Did she, to adopt a sentence of her 7 times large grandchild, dwell a lifetime of faultless home life? In reality she seems to include. She marital a chapel secretary, and lived for lot of her age lifetime in Strasbourg. Down there, it is believed, she may include contracted syphilis time considerate for patients in the sexually transferred illness. On the die of her man she refundable to her household city of Basel, and seemingly underwent strict quicksilver treat in the expect of a treatment. It did not job, scientists trust Anna Katharina perhaps dead of quicksilver poison. But the quicksilver as well kenned her flesh, enabling presence researchers to discover out precisely who she was, and who her descendants are.